Okay, you can start.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is my navigation and orienteering presentation because we're going to have our Dragons orienteering event very soon. So, does anybody know what orienteering is? It's fine if you don't, because we're going to go over that. But first, let's talk about navigation. Do you have your scout books with you? Oh, wow, you do. Okay, so take out your scout books because there are some requirements that we will refer to that you might want to look at. Oh, I made this a while ago. And you don't need to take out your compass. I have one here for everyone to look at. You don't need to open that. This is back when we were during COVID. We don't need that. Okay, so first we're going to go over some navigation stuff. We're going to talk about what is navigation, talk about some skills, and then we're going to talk about orienteering, and then our event is what the fourth section is called. All right, cool. First, let's talk navigation basics. So, navigation is basically being able to know where you are and how to get from one place to another on a very basic level. It's a very important part of scouting, and as you can see, if you flip through your requirements of your scout book, there are a lot of navigation and travel requirements. Because it's important when you go hiking or traveling or whatever, you need to know where you are so that you can get around. And because we're at the backpacking event, which I don't think you were, Melody, you were there. It's very good to be able to read a map and know where you're going, so you don't go on the wrong path, and then So many of them talk about compass and map skills, so we're going to be going over some of those today. So let's get into it. So this is some example of navigation requirements. If you flip through your scout book, you can find different requirements. So in Tenderfoot, there isn't a navigation section, but there's a hiking section that gets you started on it. You need to hike a certain number of miles in order to get those Tenderfoot requirements done. I think you two already have those done, right? I don't know. I feel like you two. And then you guys, if you look at Tenderfoot, there should be a hiking section. That's section number 5, and there are a couple of those. Second class has a navigation section, and it talks about using a compass and orienting a map, which we're going to talk about later. You have to do a 5-mile hike with a map and compass. You have to talk about the hazards and injuries of hiking and finding your direction during day and night without a compass. So using things like nature, the shadows, the stars to find your way. All right, so let's talk navigation skills. All right, there are 3 things that are very important in navigation, and it's your compass, your map, and being able to measure things. So you can see in your requirements, there are various requirements for this. There's one that's taking measurements and being able to measure something without something like a ruler. Because say you want to measure how tall this tree is, which I don't know why you would want to do that, but say you want to do that. You can't get a ruler and just start climbing up the tree. You have to be able to figure out how to figure it out. So we're gonna talk about some of those. So let's first talk about the compass. So for orienteering, you need an orienteering compass. If you've seen one of these, this is an orienteering compass. So just like this, and then we're gonna talk about what makes a compass an orienteering compass. If you've seen these in a pirate movie or something, these are not orienteering compasses. You do not want one of these. You want a cool one like this. So let's talk what makes a compass an orienteering compass. This is the different things that you might see on an orienteering compass, and theirs looks remarkably like mine. So the important things for an orienteering compass to have is it's clear on the base plate so that you can put it on a map and see what you're looking at. You can rotate the bezel. There are orienting lines on the bezel. And then there is a movable arrow, obviously. And those are the super important parts, as well as the markings around the bezel and the orienting line. But there are other important things. But there are other things that you might see on compasses like this, so you can hang it on your neck. This little magnifying glass, so you can look at parts on the map better. There's this mirror, which you can use to triangulate your location, and some ruler markings on the sides. So those are some elements of a really good compass. Oh, and also this thing, which helps you adjust the declination. Oh, we're talking about it now. Declination. Does anybody know what declination is? That's okay. Oh, wait, yes.
It's the angle of how the magnetic north is. Wait, Angela, did you take merit badge?
We'll get back to that. All right, so declination. So we all know north, south, east, west, right? So basically there's a direction called north. Everybody point to north. That's north. Okay, but the thing is, compasses use a magnet in order to find north, and it's because Earth is like one big giant magnet, and the compass uses a special like mechanism in order to find that magnet. However, the thing is where like the magnet points isn't exactly where true north is. So when you have a compass, you need to be able to adjust like the angle, and depending where you are in the world, there is like a certain amount of distance between true north and magnetic north. Hi guys. Where we are, the declination degree is like 12.9. So when you have a compass, you can like adjust it to make it fit the declination level. And during our event, we'll like show you how to do that kind of thing. Alright, and with the correct declination in the compass, you can navigate, because if you don't have the correct declination, then you'll start going in the wrong direction across long distances. It doesn't matter for, like, say, getting from here to the parking lot, but if you're traveling, like, more than a mile, then you'll slowly start to veer off course, and you'll eventually end up a lot further away than where you want to be. How to use a compass? There's a video, but we don't really have time for that video.
How long is it?
We can watch the video later. I will send this out, and I will send this video out in an email so that you can watch it and practice with your compass. All right, let's talk maps. This is a map. Whoa. Let's talk what we can see on this map. Raise your hand and offer me things. What do you see on this map? Yes. You see what? Oh, yeah, but like, what is that?
A mountain.
Sure, you see mountains. What else do you guys see? What are like some things you notice about the map? Yeah? Yeah, rivers. The rivers are marked in blue, right? You can tell they're rivers. They're not just like roads.
Sophie, if we took the merit badge, are we not supposed to answer?
You can answer. What do you see on this map?
It's like the topographic
Yeah,
lines.
topographic lines. We'll talk about what those are in a bit. Anything else?
Draw them around my finger, like.
Oh.
Anything else? Anybody else see something? What's on this map? There is in fact a triangle. That's like a little symbol for like a campsite. Alright, so what else you could see are like labels for things. So labels for mountains, labels for bodies of water. You see topographic lines, which are these weird little squiggly lines. You may see like green stuff marking, I think trails is what they are. And you see little numbers marking like heights and distances. So, what is a
Sophie,
map?
how about the horizontal line and the vertical line? What are those?
Orienting lines. Those are important for compass work. Talk about those too. Alright, how to read a map. A map has some important things on it in order to help you read it. For example, it has contour lines or topographic lines. And topographic/contour lines are basically lines on a map that help you show 3D things in 2D. Since you've got a piece of paper, you don't know what's higher than other things. And so topographic lines help you be able to see those things. So for example, if you see these like little circles, these are usually peaks of mountains or the bottoms of valleys. And each line is like a specified distance from each other. So lines that are further apart mark slightly less steep slopes than lines that are closer together. So like say I say the distance between two lines is like, I don't know, 500 feet. Then you know that 500 feet would be, if they're closer together, that means it's a lot steeper because it goes 500 feet up in a shorter amount of distance. But then if the lines are further apart, then you know it's a lot less steep than that. So that's how you read like hills and valleys and things with contour lines. And so if a 2D thing looks like this, then the 3D would look like this. Then there's something called a scale, which helps tell you like how big things are on a map. So like if I wanted to make a map of this park, it's not going to be the same size as the park, because then how are you going to read it? It's going to be a lot smaller than the park, and you need the scale to be able to tell you what 1 inch on a map is in real life. So if I said 1 inch on the map equals like 10 feet in real life, and you'd be able to tell, oh, that's how big everything is based on how big things are on the map. Because you can't just like eyeball it and be like, oh, well over here 1 inch is 10 feet, but over here 1 inch is like 3 feet. That makes sense, because then people can't read your map. And over here there's a thing called a key. So you guys know what a key is, right? It shows you a bunch of symbols, and it tells you what those symbols mean. So this key has like symbols. Wait, you can see a different key. Keys. All right. So let's look at these symbols. If you looked, a lot of symbols are universal. So like this big P over here, that's like parking, right? All right, and what about this one? This one. Yeah, this is a campsite. And what about this one? Hiking trail. And then this one? Guy in the weird chair. Yeah, so a lot of symbols are accessible and easy to read so that you know what you're looking at on the map. And don't worry if you missed things, we have a video.
Oh my god. Guys, can you stop people on people?
Later. Okay. So basically these keys help you read symbols on a map so you know where things are. So you're not just like looking at it and being like, okay, I see water and hills, but where am I gonna camp? You can tell there's a campsite. Alright. Oh, and you can find common symbols on page 334 of your scout book. The navigation section of your scout book has a bunch of great activities. Oh yeah, there you go. It's also got a topographic lines activity, so if you didn't understand what I was saying when I was talking about contour lines, you can do that activity to figure it out. Yeah, alright. Oh, contour lines. We're back to that. What do you guys know about contour lines? Besides what I just said. Oh. Okay, what did I say? Yeah, the closer they are together, the steeper it is. So if you're like climbing a mountain, you're like, oh, well, I know how far it's going to be, but how much am I going to be? Like, how tired am I going to be? You can look for the paths that are like, have lines closer together or further steeply. If you go to page 337, you can find a contour lines activity that Melody's looking at. It's just drawing contour lines on your hand so you understand the concept better. Don't do that right now, because then we'll look at Okay, measuring. If you go to page 328 to 331 and also page 437, there are various ways to measure things without bringing out like a measuring tape or a ruler or something. So there are some cool ways to measure things. Like Claire, how tall are you? What are you? You're 5'3". I'm gonna round that to 5 feet. Claire, go stand next to that tree. All right. So one way you can measure things is to take something that you know the measurement of. So Claire is 5'3", which I'm rounding to 5 feet. And if I take this compass and I hold it like this, then in my perspective, the compass is the same height as Claire. Not from you guys' perspective, because you guys are a different distance from me. But if you take like a stick or something and make it the same height as Claire, and then like bring it up a certain amount of times until you reach the top of the tree, then you're like, oh, I brought my compass up 4 times. That means this 5 times. That means this tree is like 5 times Claire's height, then I can estimate it to be around 25 feet. That's so cool, right? 26. That's so cool, right? Whoa! Alright, so thank you for helping me demonstrate this. And it would be easier for people who have like more exact measurements. Like me, I'm 5 foot.
Wait, you're exactly 5 feet?
Not really, yeah, so if you look at your scout books, there's more different ways, but this is my favorite way, because then I can just like round people to shorter than they really are. Yeah, and these skills help you estimate like the heights and lengths of things on like a trip. So, yay. You can sign off requirement 4A in first class with the skill. It might have changed since I was a scout. But you know, you'll find the requirement. There's a requirement that's like measure something without measuring it. And, yeah. All right, let's talk orienteering. All right, I know I asked this earlier, but there are more people now. So who knows what orienteering is? Raise your hands. I'm not gonna make you answer anything. Just raise your hand if you know what orienteering is.
Did she take over the question?
Exactly.
She did.
I don't know what orienteering is. No, I'm not gonna call on you. Just raise your hand if you know what it is.
What is just like a general idea,
Claire,
not
how?
like exact definition?
Orienteering is a sport that utilizes your navigation skills. What does this society say? Yes, alright. People do it for fun in order to improve their navigation skills. Basically, you're given a map and you use this map with a compass to find different checkpoints around a certain place. Lots of people like to make orienteering courses. I saw one that was made for like a Google project, which is really cool. But you go around looking for these checkpoints, and then once you've gathered all the checkpoints, hooray, you did it. It's like a scavenger hunt, almost. So, take out your orienteering maps, which you don't have. What do you notice about it? This is an orienteering map. Something strange about the orienteering map is if you look at it, everything's kind of tilted to the side. And I tilted the image so you can't tell, but if you tilt it, you can tell it's all tilted to the side. And that's because orienteering maps, they aren't like normal maps. They don't use like the declination, so they measure everything to magnetic north instead of true north. So if you have a compass that's set to the correct declination, you need to set it back to 0 degrees, which is really sad because then you have to set it back a bunch of times, but that's okay. So that's the strange thing about orienteering maps. If you see these like pointy little lines, they all point to magnetic north instead of true north, and that's why when you look at it, everything's just kind of How to do orienteering. Your orienteering map will show you where the different stations are, and it will show you where to start. So if you like start at point 1, then you go to point 1, and you're like, all right, now how do I get to point 2? And then you have to use your skills with the map and the compass in order to figure out where point 2 is, and then figure out the fastest path to get from point 1 to point 2. So over here, we have point 1 over here, and then we have like the easiest path to point 2. Cool, right? So cool. All right. What did I say on this thing? Okay, yeah, I said it. Our event. This is outdated because I used it for the last event, so all the dates are wrong, but it's essentially the same idea. We're gonna go orienteering at this really cool orienteering site, and orienteering has different levels. There's white, yellow, and orange, so if you feel really unconfident in your navigation skills, you can start at white. If you've done this for a while, or you've done it 1 or 2 times and you want to try something a bit harder, you can do yellow. And if you've done it like a million times, you can try orange. Fun! So these different levels will have more stations depending on what level you take, and some stations will be slightly harder to find. So for example, all the white stations are kind of clustered closer together. The yellow stations are more spread apart, and the orange stations are spread apart, and there's more of them. Whoa. I think when I did orange last time, I had to like leave the park. Okay. So, these are the wrong links. Don't follow these links. I will send this slideshow out as well as that video, and you can use it to look for all of the different links and test out your orienteering compass skills. And now, a pop quiz. Do you have time for that? Yes, a pop quiz. We're gonna ask some questions. What are contour lines? Yeah, sure, pretty much. It's to help you see like 3D things in a 2D space. What are 3 signs of a good orienteering compass? Yeah, there's a rotating bezel. What else? Yep, there's a transparent base plate. The mirror isn't like a required part, but it does help sometimes with your like triangulation. I can't explain it to you right now, but if you like Google like REI or something, they'll tell you how to triangulate your location on the map. Some other things are, for those who missed it, there are orienting lines on the rotating thing, so you can use it to like orient it to your map. There's like ruler markings, there's markings around the outside, you can see north, south, northwest, whatever. Cool. What are my other questions? How tall is that tree? 26 feet. And how did you figure that out?